More and more women are taking control of critical health decisions with preventative measures, especially when it comes to breast cancer. For our next guest, a positive test for BRCA1 gene mutation meant that she would have an 87% chance of developing cancer, just like several people in her family. And for that reason, she decided to undergo a double mastectomy to be safe. A comedian and author, she then wrote a book about it called Dangerous Boobies, Breaking Up with My Time Bomb Breasts. Brodnick, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's an amazing story. Tell us about your backstory and what led you to even getting this testing done.
So it was a pretty sad backstory. It was pretty intense. I grew up with I was surrounded by a lot of death. My father's the only surviving person in his family. They've all died of cancers. So as a child, I understood that this was a terrible disease that wreaks havoc on your body and that it might happen to me. And so when genetic testing first came out, I didn't want to have anything to do with it. I was like, I don't need this much, I don't need cancer to come closer. And then as I started sort of maturing, understanding, I was like, this could be beneficial. And then I was like, oh yes, definitely, we're doing it.
And so you decided to do this testing at what age?
So I was finally tested at 25.
Wow.
My father wanted me to get tested at 21, and he started working with Johns Hopkins, and he's one of their research patients. And so when he found out about the gene a while ago, it was a relief for our family because it was like there wasn't just some chaotic cancer taking over. It was a genetic mutation that actually gave us a higher risk of cancers. So it's sort of in a sense like if there's a cause, there could be a solution.
Right.
So I think he felt a lot of relief, but I was like 21 living in New York City, and I was like, I just want to eat pizza.
I can't think about this right now.
Yeah, I'm at drinking age. I have things to do.
Right. I mean, at 21, you don't want to be thinking about your life and mortality. And
no.
So you waited a couple of years. You waited till you were 25.
Yes, I waited till I was 25, and I was finally like, we should sort of figure this out, and I might have lost my health insurance, so I was kind of nervous. I was like, let's just do it. I went in for a gluten allergy test, and the doctor was like, no, we have to do the BRCA test.
Yes.
So in ways, I sort of tiptoed around it too. I still was nervous. And when I got the diagnosis, actually everyone has the BRCA gene, but when you say you're positive for BRCA1 or BRCA2, that means you have a mutated version of the gene.
Got it.
So your body is less able to prevent growth or suppress. Suppress?
That's right. Yes, suppress is right. Yes, suppress
pregnancy brain. Yeah,
correct.
Suppress cancer growth.
Yes.
Or tumor growth.
So when you found this out, you decided, I'm going to get the double mastectomy?
When I found out, I had a panic attack for 3 years.
Oh, wow. And
then I realized, I think I'm freaking out so much because I actually want this. I actually think it would be a good decision, and it was a huge decision. And at the time, I had a very difficult relationship with my body, like every woman, and the idea that then I would be able to sort of control my future, control my health, became empowering. It took me a while to get there, but then it became wonderful.
And so you got there, you decided to have the surgery, and your life changed. You wrote this
100%.
book, and you've been talking to people through this book about just being comfortable with their body, taking control of their medical decisions.
Yes.
How has that been for you, just sort of seeing the impact of your book?
Well, I love it because when I was first going through all of this, I felt really lonely and very confused, and that maybe there are 1 or 2 women who had mastectomies, but a lot of women who wrote about it or talked about it had gone through cancer treatment and had mastectomies based on the need to from cancer. So this preventative option felt very odd and kind of uncomfortable because I wasn't technically a cancer patient. So I sort of felt guilty that I didn't have a sickness, but I did know that it was the right decision for me. So I was in this gray period, this no man's land, and Angelina becoming public with it was actually such an amazing service.
Absolutely.
She didn't have to do any of that. And
and then you did as well.
It was just so nice. And I felt like Angelina gave so much wonderful attention. I can give you the backstage tour.
Yes, no, we appreciate you so much coming on the show, calling this to light, making this book. You're opening up so many eyes. It's good for men to read as well.
It is. There's a lot of advice for caregivers. It's a lot of sort of what was going through my brain, my top fears, which was I was just constantly afraid my body would explode or something insane.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And if you want to check out this book, you can buy it anywhere bookstores are sold, or books are sold, not the bookstores, and also on Amazon. We will see you right back here right after the break.